Welcome to another edition of Big Ooh Top 20 Countdown. This week we're counting down the top 20 reggae songs. Plus, we're talking to our guest, Daniel Villegas.
Yes, sir.
And you guys, let's get into the number 20 song. The number 20 song comes from and Malik. This song is called Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City. Let's get into it. Number 20, Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City by Malik on Big Ooh Top 20 Countdown, baby. Yeah, y'all, that was a number 19 song of Richie Stevens with Reverse the Curse. We're talking to our guest, Daniel. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Blessed, grateful to be on this talk show. So I'm glad to be part of it.
Tell my listeners about yourself, please.
Sure thing, man. So I've been doing music for about a little bit over 20 years. I was in a group called Rednex Poetry Squad for about 15 of those years. We traveled the country doing spoken word and hip hop, going into school systems. I've done over 200 schools teaching the breath and movement workshops with creative writing and hip hop. And we got picked up under the Obama administration for a couple of the grants. So we were able to tour and do that for 5 years. I'm a bilingual poet, so I do a lot of stuff in Spanish and English. What else? I'm Colombian, so I'm from South America, born there, came here at a very young age, and then got assimilated to the whole process of what happens in the United States, right? So I'm grateful to be able to say that I use the language now. Before, I had a very tough time speaking English. You know, learning the language was a bit tough, but now I use it as a profession to teach and educate. So it's very interesting how things like that, you know, work out. I'm working on 2 albums right now, a poetry album and a bilingual hip hop album. I think I sent you a couple of those tracks on 2 other albums. And a poetry book, you know, I think it's about time after 20 years, right?
Wow,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so cool. How did you, you said you started in a group. How did you transition into becoming a solo artist?
Very good question. When I was going to SUNY Orange at the time, I was like 17 when I graduated. I went to the college. It was a 2-year college. And I met a dude. Interestingly enough, I was driving on my way to college, and this guy was walking down the street from my development. And I'm like, what is this guy about? So I was like, yo, you need a ride anywhere? He's like, sure, I'm going to SUNY Orange, the same place I was going. He's like, I'll go with you. Right then and there, as soon as he got in the car, we started talking. Next thing we started freestyling. Next thing you know, we freestyled all the way to the college. And what ended up happening, me and him ended up starting a group called Rednex Poetry Squad, 5 members, one girl. And we started performing, doing open mics. You know, it was just the thing, just to perform. And then it got big. Like, people started like really liking what we were doing and booking us. So we started doing that. After like 10 years, you know, everybody started going their way, went for their master's degrees, had kids. So I went on like a 6 to 7 year hiatus where I just went around the country, kind of going to meditation circles, kind of developing on my spirituality, but also trying to get my health a little bit more concrete. Then I would say about 5 years ago, I was like, you know what? I can't let this sickness that I had Lyme disease at the time, like that I got 10 years ago. I was like, I can't let this knock me down, you know? If I could either stay in the bed and do nothing, or do an album, or do something I love and try to get myself going, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You know, I was like, I might as well do something now and give myself something to look forward to. So I started recording. 5 years later, I'm almost done with the bilingual hip hop album. I got a couple of features of cool performers around the country. And then in between that process, COVID hit, so I couldn't record anymore. So I end up, this is amazing story. So I end up going, oh, I need to finish this album. I can't just sit on it. So I looked up on the internet on Google. I was like, Google recording studios nearby. Like 10 showed up. So I started going, no. And then I saw this picture, right, of a studio with like really blue lighting, really nice blue foam all around. I was like, oh, this looks interesting. Let me give this guy a call. I called the dude up. I was like, listen, I'm working on an album. I need to do at least 5 poems today. Would you be able to book me for that? The guy was like, 5 poems in one day? You sure you could do that? I was like, I don't know, but what do you charge? Can we try to figure this out? He's like, yeah, it's all good. So I go to meet him. Ends up being he was one of the guys who was working with the producer who was working with the group 10 years ago, who used to do some stuff for the instrumentation of the album. Ain't that something?
Yeah, that's like, wow, a hell of a coincidence.
Yeah.
Wow. But you guys are going to talk more to our guest, Daniel. But you guys, let's get back in this countdown. The number 18 song comes from Protege featuring Lilia Ike. This song is called Late at Night. Let's get into it. Late at Night, number 18 on Big Woo! Top 20 Countdown. Stole that from Soul Train. Yeah. You guys, that was a number 17 song, Anthony Malvo, in case you didn't know. That's one of my favorites on this countdown. You said you're into poetry, spoken word, bilingual. Man, wow. You said how long you been in America?
So I got here like the age of 8. I'm about 39 now.
Oh, okay.
So I've been a little 20 plus years I've been here. So I went to the school system out here in Rockland. I went to school system. Then I moved to Warwick, where I live now, my middle school and high school. And then I went to Newport for my 4-year, got my bachelor's in theater and Latin American studies. So that, a little bit of the history of, of kind of why we are how we are.
You're an educated brother. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome, man. Wow. So you're doing a lot, man. You've been in schools. Wow. You said you've been in schools. How did you guys get into the schools? How did you guys get into the schools?
So the school system, interestingly enough, we were performing, and sometimes you get good gigs, sometimes you don't. So we end up doing this open mic out in Newburgh, New York. As soon as we walked in, the lights were off because the electricity wasn't working right. And there was a stage, and I guess somebody was performing, and then they asked us to perform. So we went up to do something, and we just said, "Yo, let's just give it all. Let's just do it." So we rocked the show. A lady came up to us and said, "You guys are amazing role models. I love what you talk about. Would you ever consider doing school systems? Do you have a workshop developed for that?" And at the time, my friend was like, yeah, we got one, yeah. As soon as we got home, we're like, yo, let's put something together. We got to put something together, right? So we end up putting this creative writing workshop that I now do by myself. And I took it a little step further. What ends up happening in the workshop is I teach about 20 minutes of Tai Chi breath and movement. Then we go straight into a free write. Then we go straight into a technique called the bubble technique, which develops how to kind of get out of your head and always have a word bank of how to write your poems and short stories. Then we share at the end everything that they wrote. And, and it's about an hour, 20-minute workshop, including a DJ that shows how to DJ and, and brings the music back and forth on a turntable. So the DJ that was in the group was an actual turntablism, which means that he did tricks on the DJ. He didn't just, put the song on. He would scratch, turn around, behind the back. He did all that good stuff. So that's what we teach. I go into community centers, community organizations, and, we bring this workshop and tie it in with a feature. And, it's a really cool thing to just get to see the youth and adults at the same time kind of branch out. You give somebody a voice, they'll take it all the way once they feel comfortable enough to be like, yeah, I feel safe,
Wow, that is so awesome, man. You said, and you decided to just start working on your project just like 4 or 5 years ago?
Correct.
What's the name of this project so far? Do you have the name?
So November 12th, it'll be live on iTunes, live on Spotify, all that good stuff. So my name is Daniel Villegas, and the album is called Poetry Meets Slam. It's an album of about 7 or 8 straight poems, a cappella, no music, with a few poems and a few rhymes just to like tighten it up, to change up the pace of just the poetry. But it's mainly a poetry album. I wanted to pay homage to my you know, the fact that the first thing I learned before I was rhyming was the drums. I'm actually a conga player. And then I got into writing poetry when I got introduced to Mos Def, you know, got
You
influenced
know
by Mos
that?
Def. No, I
What?
didn't meet him directly, but you know, when somebody's like, yo, you got to listen to this guy, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay,
And, you know, so he was a big
okay.
influence in getting my writing going.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. You know, we're going to talk more to our guests. We got a lot of questions to ask Daniel, but let's get into the number 16 song. The number 16 song is by Lilia Ike. This song is called Wanted. Let's get into it. Lilia Ike with Wanted. Yeah, that was the number 15 song, Ghetto Cry by Mr. Easy. Now it's time to get into the extra song of the week. This song is like, wow, I kind of like it. It's by our guest Daniel. And this song is called Cosmic. Give me just the history of this song. Give me the
Oh
story.
man. You're dope. Great questions. Yeah, so Cosmic, right? I didn't have nothing planned. The DJ in the group just sent me a beat. He's like, yo, I've been working on this beat. Just check it out. So I heard the beat and I was like, oh, this is like a 90s feel, but like 2000 age feel. So I immediately just started writing, like the lyrics just came to me. So I wrote my first verse, I wrote the second verse, and I hit him up. I was like, listen, we got to get in the studio and record this song now. Like, we can't wait on it. We got to just record it and see what happens. So all that DJing, all that cutting, it's him doing that live in the studio.
Wow.
And then he's also singing the chorus and he does a little verse on there. So that's how that song came to be. And he actually, when he sent it to me, the name was called Cosmic because of the influence that he got from getting the samples. So I was like,
Oh,
oh, might as well keep that name. And when I wrote to it, I kind of had the idea already of like, I was like, how can I say stuff that's grounding, that's like, you know, physical, but still get a little bit cosmic with the wordplay. So that's how that song came to be.
I like that. I like that. Let's get into it. The extra song of the week by Daniel. This song is called Cosmic on Big Old Stop 20 Countdown. Yeah, man, I'm really digging that song, man. I really dig it, man. I love it, man. Yeah, and you say that you started as a bongo player. Oh, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Give me, you got like so many layers. I mean, you're just like Moody Black. You got like 50,000 things going on. Man, every time you know another conversation, something's coming out. How'd you start doing the bongo? How you start doing the bongos?
So you know, my grandmother who just passed away at 98, God rest, you know, she got me into music because she used to play the guitar. So she played traditional cumbias and traditional Colombian folklore music. And then one day I went to church because I used to go to church with her. I saw this guy playing the bongos, and I'm like, yo, his name was Folito or Falu. I don't know if he was Black Dominican, African Dominican, or Puerto Rican. I mean, granted, Puerto Rican and Dominican have the African influence, but so he was playing the bongos, and I was like, yo, I felt the emotion that he had when he played them. I was like, I want to learn how to do that. So
Wow.
I told my grandmother, she bought me my first bongo set, and I started playing in church. Then I got to the congas, then I got to the drum set, and this past year or two, I said, you know what? I haven't played the drums in about 5 to 10 years. You know, I was like, it's time for me to play him again. So I bought me a djembe, an African djembe, and my friend donated to me 2 pairs of beautiful congas that I now play and mix it with the poetry when I perform. And it's like a whole nother world, man.
Are you playing bongos on your album?
No. On the album, it's me working with a producer, and the acapella is the poetry album. On the bilingual one, it's like that reggae song that I sent you. It's like a reggae dub, I think I sent you. It's mainly that album is called Evolution Gold. That album that hopefully will be done by April. The purpose of that album was for me to put music together that I like to listen to, that I feel sometimes the words are a little bit, how should we say, not quite receptive to where consciously I would like to take, you know, and further myself. So sometimes we hear amazing reggaeton songs, amazing hip hop songs. I'm like, yo, this beat is dope. But the words is like, ooh, you know, I don't like what they're saying. So I was like, with this album, I want to put together some reggae, some trap, some reggaeton, some hip hop. I was like, some house music, stuff that I love to listen to. And I was like, but I'll put some of my lyrics to it to try to infuse like a little bit more of a positive feel. So that's how that album came to be.
That's tight. That's tight. That's tight. That's tight. We're gonna talk more to our guests. But you guys, let's get back to this countdown. The number 14 song comes from Disney Amika. This song is called Get Away. Let's get into it. Get Away by Disney Amika. Yeah, you guys, we did the three in a row for you. We did Get Away by Disney and Micah. Number 13 was Skip Marley and Adria Scar with Jane. And number 12 was Protege featuring Jesse Royale. That song was called Family. But you guys, let's get into this comedy corner by a very good friend to us and a good friend to a show. He's a very, very funny comic. Let's get into it. The comedy of Mike McFarland on Big O Top 20 Countdown. Yeah, y'all, that was a very, very funny Mike McFarland. And we're talking to our guest, Daniel. I don't want to mess up your last name because you said it, but I don't want to mess it up again.
Villegas.
You know what? I have a problem because people always mess up my first name. So
yeah. Oh, good. So we'll do it this way, and you can pronounce it like this too, because sometimes I got to do this when I'm speaking with doctors, right? Who don't know the accent. So you can say the American Standard Version, Villegas. You can say Villegas, but we'll let that slide. But really, the L's are like J's, so you just say Villegas. Villegas.
Villegas. Cool. Yes. Yes. I learned how to say that. You know, and I know me myself, I'll have a fit if somebody says my name wrong. So I'm like, no, this interview is over.
Oh, good, homie. Oh, good.
I met this good brother. We were on a poetry slam, I think it was. Was it Put the Mic Down or put it in the chat, or was it in the
yeah, put it in the chat with the dude from Florida, from Grito de Poetas.
Yeah. Shout out to them. Shout out to all them. Wow. And I was like, man, you have a great poetry, great set. Oh, you know what I gotta do? You know what we gotta do? All the poets, we're gonna put them on the spot. We want you to come out with a poem. Come up with a poem. One of your favorite poems. I'm gonna let you find it. One of your favorite poems that you have ever written. Just let me know. Oh, you said you also have a book coming out too.
Yeah, the book will probably be done by 2024.
Okay.
I think majority of it's written, but I'm working with a graphic designer because we're trying to do something a little bit different than a traditional poetry book. So we're working on that. It's called Walking Cities of Light. So yeah, that one's in the process. Hopefully 2024. Because I get asked a lot too. You know, can I read? Because when I rhyme and I talk, I go very fast, right? My poetry is very quick.
Do what you gotta do.
Yeah, so people be like, yo, do you have anything written that I can like follow? And I'm like, and usually I go, no, I don't have anything written. But then I'm like, you know what? For the past 20 years, I've been collecting poems. And I was like, let me make a book out of these 20 years of experience of development. And then when I put it out, people will be able to, you know, kind of get me a little bit more intimately than just hearing my music.
Okay. Yeah, that's hot. That's hot. That's tight. That's tight. But you know what? We're gonna let you look for your poem. And while you're looking for your poem, let's get back into this countdown. The number 11 song comes from Kalia. This song is called Nothing Can Justify. Let's get into it. Nothing Can Justify by Kalia on Big Old Top 20 Countdown. You guys, that was a number 10 song, Taurus Riley with Baby Blue. And you know what? While you're looking for your poem, I want to play one of your other songs. This song is called Slam Poet.
Yeah.
Tell me about this, and then we're gonna come back with your poem.
Okay, Slam Poet. So that's going to be on the poetry album, Poetry Meets Slam. Slam Poet, you know, I've done, you know, the New Eurekan. I've done a couple of slam poetry slams, but never have I really got into the scene 100%.
Hmm.
Then about a couple of years ago, I started going to more poetry slams, and I'm like, oh, I got to start writing because I normally freestyle, right? I make it up on the spot. So I'm like, there's a difference of when you freestyle and when you write, because though freestyling is great and it's very fun, when you write, it's more direct because you have time to think. So I was like, let me start writing for these poetry slams. And then that way, when I started doing the Word is Right, performing a lot on that, I was like, it came to me. I was like, yeah, I should write a poem called Slam Poet. And that's where I ended up writing that poem.
Okay, let's get into it. This is the second extra song of the week, Slam Poet by Daniel Villegas.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I'm sorry, see, I don't want to mess it up. Let's get
Nah,
into
you did it. You did it. You got it.
The second extra song of the week on Big Old Stop 20 Countdown. Yeah, yo, that was the awesome, awesome song, Slam Poet. And I guess, you know what? I want to hear you do it live and in person. I want to hear you do one poem.
You know, I could do this poem. I'll do this poem called Sky Language.
Okay.
So Sky Language is about, kind of connecting with the stars, knowing that there's some type of connection that we have to the stars, right? The Egyptians understood this, the Mayans understood this. So I wrote this piece called Sky Language, kind of just to bridge that connection, and then historically kind of show a little bit of where we're going. So this piece is called Sky Language. I'll do it right now.
Go ahead.
Never forget now where you come from. Past, present, future hold the galaxy and then some. Flying through flying objects. Optical illusions seeming opaque like flying targets. I ain't mad. I'm just telling you how I feel, walking through concrete jungles where people will squeal, losing the meal for mass appeal and still ready to deal. I don't throw rocks, but if I did, I'll break the glass ceiling. See me in a spaceship flying across Beijing, breakdancing geometric patterns to sound a sacred language that could be seen all in the sky, wondering why. Rulers got to measure the line across time and space, seeing your pendulum slicing fragments of walking soldiers walking amongst us with rifles and camouflage, a paradox for the ones that analyze the Avalon, seeing skyscrapers, script Atlantis with analogs. We're living in a digital world, a paradigm for doves that fly like automatons and marathons in a place where the space is grace, constantly praying to keep myself in place like if I were my own drill sergeant. Shadows give light to my squadron. We move fast in the light despite the darkness, with bows and arrows to hardness. I'm breaking the bondage and any idea of being a slave, because in the mind we manifest pure freedom when we're out of the maze. I happen to save myself from being stuck in a cave with no one to care except what I see in amazement. Sky Language.
I like that. Like that was awesome. That was awesome, man. Wow. That's coming out, or is that out?
That one's out as a single.
Okay.
You can, Spotify or iTunes or YouTube, just type in Daniel Villegas Sky Language. It's actually it has music in the background, but very light. It's like ambience music. But yeah, that poem is out. You can check it out. You can hear it on YouTube and all those good platforms.
Okay, cool. You're doing a lot. You have done a lot. Wow, what's one thing that you haven't done that you would really love to do?
Oh, okay. You know what? I would love somehow to be able to bring this workshop to more known, like a celebrity that can assist me in putting it into further educational systems to give the students that different approach to schools, to learning. And I'll just give this one quick experience I had. So I performed that out in Alaska, and Alaska is very interesting because they don't get a lot of sun. So the suicide rate is very high up there. We were brought out by an alternative school to teach the workshop and do a couple of performances and do an open mic for the kids that were there. And what ended up happening was I got to see the system of where they do. So they have regular school, right? They'll have history, math, and in between that, they'll have dance classes. They'll have a poetry class, and then they'll go right back to different parts, different algebra, they'll have science. So they have the whole thing set up like that. And I was like, that is so cool, bringing the creative arts into the school system as part of the curriculum. So I would love to be able to put this workshop as part of a curriculum in school systems. So, so people could be like, oh, I'm going to slam poetry class, and have everything that they're learning throughout the school year, and whatever classes they're taking, being able to be infused into what they're learning through being able to express slam poetry.
Wow, I like that. I like that. I like that. That's a really good idea. That's really is a good idea. But you guys, let's get back into this countdown. The number 9 song comes from Protege. This song is called Heels. Let's get into it. Heels by Protege on Big Woo's Top 20 Countdown. Yeah, you guys, we did a 3 in a row for you. We did Protege with Heels. We did Leroy Smart with the remake of Always and Forever. We did Kambaka Pyramid featuring Damian Jr. Gong Marley. The song was called Red, Gold, and Green. Now it's time to get into the independent song of the week by Daniel. The song that you were telling me about, I think, Chandelier. Tell me about
Chandelier. Yeah, Chandelier. So Chandelier is going to be on the hip hop album, the Evolution Gold. That's actually a hip hop track, as you hear. And that was the music video for that is out on YouTube. If you type in Chandelier Daniel Villegas, you'll be able to see the visual to the lyrics. But that poem came to be about 6 years ago when I started writing that. I was actually listening to a Justin Timberlake and Timbaland beat. And I was like, oh, this beat, I was like, okay, I took the instrumental, not what they're saying. I took the instrumental and I was like, and I just started writing. So then I took that instrumental and I went to the producer. I was like, can we do something like this, but a variant of it? And he said, okay, let's try something like that. So that's why you hear it's like a slower pace. It's like a Dr. Dre kind of feel. The beat is like this Dr. Dre kind of feel. And I wrote it about pretty much police brutality at that time before the whole Black Lives Matter was a big thing. I went to a Boston rally like 10 years ago, and it was crazy. People were rallying about, education and trying to promote what they were expressing. And the crazy experiences I had, there was policemen all across in big horses, and they started hitting people and pushing people away. And I was like, so that subconsciously was in my mind when I started to write that. And I was like, let me write something that gives a voice, right, to the experiences we have had, so we can make some people accountable so this change could happen. Because I'm not saying all police people are bad. We got some good ones. We have people who do what they say in their job description, serve and protect. But we also got those who really don't care what color you look like, what skin, what job you have, how much you express, this and that and the third. They don't care. So I was addressing those individuals, and hopefully people could connect with that.
Let's get into the independent song of the week. This is Daniel with Chandelier. Let's get into it on Big O's Top 20 Countdown. Yeah, I like that, man. The reason why I downvoted Justin Timberlake because it's been 18 years, but I'm still mad about him and Janet.
Oh, yeah.
You don't mess with Janet. You mess with Janet, you mess with me. You feel me?
Yeah, that was just a big mistake. When you did that, that was just a mistake. There's no way to get around that. That was just a mistake.
I wish you could have used another sample, brother.
Yeah.
Somebody worthy.
Well, that beat, that whole thing is not a sample. It was created on live. The instrumentation, that piano is the actual piano player that I contracted to play that rhythm. And that rhythm came from a timbalero, which is a conga player that I know. He's like in his 50s. He used to do quite a bit of stuff commercially. And I invited him into the studio. I was like, listen, I got this beat. I was like, do you have any ideas for the rhythm? So, though it was influenced, I guess, just when I wrote the lyrics, the beat, as you hear, is nothing like anything that is out there, right? It's like completely an individual track.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that. What advice would you give someone who would like to do with what you're doing as far as music, poetry and mixing it all up?
You gotta not believe your doubts. You're gonna have doubts that are gonna rise up as you get into writing, or as you get into performance, or as you meet people who appear to be better than you. You gotta not believe those little doubts and those little voices in your head that say, no, you're not good, or you look like this, or you sound like this. You know, everybody is unique in their nature. So if you really break it down, there's no such thing as competition if you understand your value. So you're not competing with somebody because you're delivering something unique in nature. So once people understand that they're unique and that their voice is important, if you want to pursue the music career and you want to pursue the poetry career, you have to believe in yourself. And that's the biggest part, because if someone believes in you more than you do in yourself, it could only push you so long, and you will only last so long in the industry. But when you learn to create a support system, right, to help you move through your doubts and your bad experiences, and take the good ones as something that's a reminder of why you are great, then I say that there's no way you can fail.
So that's awesome advice. That's awesome advice. But you know, we're gonna get into his business after we play these songs. The number 6 song is by Xanadu. This song is called "I Care About You." It's a remake of Milestone. Let's get into it. Number 6, Xanadu, "I Care About You." Y'all, that was a number 5 song by DeVille. This song was called "Happy." Now it's time to get into the old school jam of the week. And this artist was born today, I think in 1969. Some people have called him the dancing producer. Some people have say he's all on other people's business, but he's also the founder of Bad Boy Records, and this is Puff Daddy. Let's get into his old school jam. Was called "Can't Hold Me Down." Happy birthday, Puff, on Big Old Stuff 20 Countdown. Yeah, y'all, that was the old school jam, Puff Daddy with "Can't Hold Me Down." I think that's still one of my favorite old school hip hop songs. We're getting to he looks kind of nervous, y'all. He looks very nervous. We're gonna get into his business. I said we're gonna get into his business. So are you with someone?
No, currently I am single. I was in a really serious relationship about 6 years ago. Right, you know, when I wasn't doing so well. And then it just kind of, I guess we mutually felt like it just wasn't working, right? I wasn't present enough for her. And though she loved, like, this woman, I've never felt love like this in any relationships that I've been. She really genuinely cared about me. It just I couldn't be there for her because I was battling my own stuff. So currently I am single. I wouldn't say I'm technically looking, but I do not push away opportunities. You know what I mean? You know, I meet that individual that at a show or at a dance, and something flies. You know, I ain't gonna say no. I'm sorry, I can't talk to you. So, you know.
Man, get it. You said you single, ready to mingle. I'm not mad at you, man. I'm not mad at you, man. What? And you said are you in the New York area? You're in the what area are you in?
I am. So I'm about an hour and a half up north from New York City. I'm by Woodbury Commons, Warwick, New York, or the Orange County, New York area. Yeah, the Hudson Valley is what it's called.
Oh, okay. I've never been out there. I lived in New York for like 20 years. I've never been up to the Hudson Valley.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You know, the Hudson Valley has an art scene, but nothing like the New York City with the New Yorker, right? So what I'm trying to do now is, like, I've been slowly introducing poetry slams. I've been part of some of our friends who are doing open mics, and they do dance parties. So we're trying to develop the arts, so people from outside of the Hudson Valley and individuals in it have a place where they can come and do their stuff. So, you know, I've done like 2 or 3 poetry slams already. They went very well. I was able to, you know, get some of the poets paid. But, you know, hopefully I continue to network and I could develop some grants or meet people who are grant writers so we can make this a more stable kind of thing. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
You do open mics too. You run open mics?
So I don't personally run an open mic. I sometimes co-host with a friend who does run the open mics. So I'll help him co-host. I'll keep it going. Sometimes I'll bring people up. It's not my thing. It's not something that I'm like, yeah, I'm an open mic host. I can do it, but it's not the thing that I do. The poetry slams, I have a little bit more love and understanding for because I used to do quite a few. So I do host some of those. But ultimately, you know, I'm developing the poetry slams and the workshops. So, you know, people who don't write can kind of learn to write so they can come out to the slams.
All right, that's awesome. That's awesome. You have one last thing to say. Say whatever you want to say in the next like 30 seconds, 30 seconds to a minute. The minute. I'll give you a minute. Say whatever you want to say.
All right, cool. I just want to say, man, you're a dope host. You have great energy. Very positive dude, and I like the way you move. You're making a lot of great moves for yourselves, and we know that when we get bigger, other people get bigger because we could open doors for other people. So anyone who has hatred and, you know, belittling of any sort, I say we don't need that. There's no room for that when we're all looking to try to develop ourselves and help other people. So yeah, stay positive, continue to support this podcast, and yeah, peace, love, and mucho amor, como siempre dicen los colombianos. Gracias.
Yeah. You know what? We're not done with you yet. We're not done with you yet. We're gonna come back, but we have to get back in the countdown. The number 4 song comes from Little Hero. This song is called World Right Now. Let's get into it. World Right Now on the Gold Stop 20 Countdown. Yeah, you guys, we did 3 in a row for you. We did Little Hero with World Right Now. Number 3 was Timmy Love with Forever Young. And number 2 was Hezron with Save the Children. That's a remake of Marvin Gaye's song. But you guys, let's get into the number 1 song. The number 1 song was number 3 for a while, but now it just shot up to number 1. This is by Jedi Kingdom featuring The Genius. This song was called GPP. Let's get into it. GPP featuring The Genius on Big Ol' Stop 20 Countdown. Yeah, you guys, that was a number 1 song called GPP. Daniel, how can people get in touch with you? Give everybody your contact information.
Yeah, so you can look me up on Instagram, Daniel Villegas Music. That's Daniel Villegas Music. That's probably the best way to contact me. You know, you can DM me. We can talk projects, ideas, and all that good stuff. I usually, huh?
He said, "Don't try to get in this business, though."
Yeah. None of that. We keep it professional, please. Keep it professional.
Cool, man. I want to say thank you to our guest, Daniel. I appreciate you so much. I want to say thank you to all the guests and all of the podcasts who are all the podcast hosts, like A New Slow Motion, The Block Radio, Apple Podcast. Who else? Spotify. Everybody who's hosting this show. We're in our 7th season. I think this is the 237th episode. I want to say thank you.
Oh man, good for you, man. Congrats.
Thank you for supporting this show. And if you want to reach me, you can reach me at www.linktree.com/OLUSHEYI.banjo. And the thought for the week is keep going strong no matter what nobody else say. Oh, I forgot. This podcast is dedicated to my new grandbabies, David and Solomon. I love you so much. Pop loves you. But you guys, let's get the gospel song of the week. The gospel song of the week comes from the Clark sisters, and this is one of my absolute favorites. This song is called Good Favor. Let's get into a Good Favor on Big Stop 20 Countdown. God bless, God keep you until we meet again. And the recording is, let me stop it. I got to stop it.